£7.8 million, £44.9 million. Same company, 3 years apart. And the man behind it started with a crop the biggest brewers in Britain refused to even put their name on. The biggest brewers in Britain looked at his barley and said no, didn't meet spec, not good enough. 3 years later. That's not a lucky year. This is the story of Hawkstone. And the part almost nobody tells you is the middle. The part where it should have died, not once but twice, and somehow didn't. Here's where it starts. Not in a boardroom, not in a marketing meeting, on a farm. Jeremy Clarkson grew barley the way any farmer grows a crop he's proud of, season after season, learning the land, getting it right. He took that barley to the big brewers, the companies that have run British beer for the better part of a century, expecting nothing more than a fair look. They turned him down flat. Didn't meet spec. Not good enough for them. Think about what that actually means. This isn't a startup founder getting rejected by investors who've never grown anything themselves. This is an industry looking at a genuine agricultural product and saying it doesn't clear the bar. That's not a soft no. That's the kind of no that's supposed to end things. So he built a brewery. Not out of some grand 5-year plan sketched out on a whiteboard. Out of the specific, stubborn refusal to be told his barley wasn't good enough by people who'd never met it, never walked the field it came from. But rejection from the industry wasn't even the worst of it. Because then came the blind test. No label, no name on the can, no cameras rolling for a television audience who already liked him. Just his lager, side by side, against an ordinary supermarket beer that people already knew, already drank every weekend without thinking twice about it. It lost. Badly. Sit with that for a second. His own beer, made from his own barley, grown on land he'd put years into, beaten by something you can pick up in any corner shop for a couple of quid. Rejected once by the industry. Rejected a second time by an anonymous glass with nothing writing on it but the truth. That moment tells you everything about what happened next, because most people quit right there. He didn't. He went back to the drawing board, reworked the recipe, adjusted it until it could actually hold its own against a proper commercial lager. Not win because his name was on the can, but win on its own terms. Once that relaunched version hit the shelves, something happened that nobody saw coming. Hawkstone Lager became the single best-selling beer on Amazon UK. Not did all right for a farm shop product. Not sold a few crates to loyal fans of the show. Top of Amazon, nationwide, beating established beer brands with marketing departments, ad agencies, and budgets, Hawkstone couldn't dream of matching pound for pound. A brewery that had been quietly supplying around 50 pubs suddenly had people walking into bars and asking for it by name. That's the kind of small win that tells you an idea has real legs, not just hype. And just as the momentum started building, the system fought back. This time it wasn't about the beer itself. It was about the man attached to it. 3 separate Hawkstone television adverts got banned outright by the Advertising Standards Authority. 3. Not one slip-up you write off as bad luck. 1 banned for language used on camera. 1 banned for an ad that took a direct swing at an entire British city and its accent. And 1 pulled because it appeared to show him drinking the beer before heading off to work in the morning, which regulators understandably didn't want normalized on national television. If this took you back, or we missed your personal favorite, drop it in the comments. Give this video a like if you enjoyed the countdown. Subscribe to Soil Vanta. Best for more stories from Clarkson life. Think about what that actually costs a business. If you're a small brand trying to grow, national TV advertising is one of the biggest levers you've got. It's how you go from local curiosity to household name. Getting cut off from that, not once but 3 separate times, right at the moment you need it most, is the kind of thing that quietly strangles a lot of businesses before they ever get the chance to scale properly. Every founder watching this already understands, in their bones, what that feels like. It's rarely that the product was actually the problem. It's that the rules always seem to bend a certain way depending on who's asking. The big, established names get a bit more leeway. The new name trying to break into the room gets the rulebook thrown at him. 3 ads, 3 bans, right as the whole thing was starting to take off. And yet, Despite being locked out of national television not once but 3 times, sales tripled in a single financial year. £7.8 million to £21.3 million. Read that again. Tripled, while banned from the exact channel that's supposed to be essential for growing a consumer brand. The company's total equity, what the whole business is worth on paper once you account for everything it owns and everything it owes, climbed sharply in the same 12 months. And the staff numbers tell their own story, from 28 employees to 53, nearly doubling the entire workforce in a single year, while simultaneously being told by regulators they couldn't run the adverts they wanted to run. This is the moment the tide genuinely turns. The system that tried to slow this down, whether that's the big brewers rejecting the barley or the regulators pulling the ads, couldn't actually stop it. The beer was selling itself. Word of mouth, farm shop loyalty, and an audience that already trusted the man behind it. That combination turned out to be stronger than any advertising ban. Quick one before we get to the part that nearly brought the whole thing down. Have you actually tried Hawkstone yourself? Drop a yes or no below, and if you have, say what you actually thought of it. Now here's the one that's genuinely serious. Not a marketing headache this time. Not a banned advert you can laugh off. A real, documented, government-issued safety recall. In April 2025, the Food Standards Agency issued a formal recall covering 2 Hawkstone products, Hawkstone Black and Hawkstone Spa Lager, because they contained undeclared wheat and gluten that wasn't listed anywhere on the label. Every can pulled from shelves nationwide. Every batch affected. Full refunds issued to anyone who'd bought them. Picture what that looked like from inside the business. A national safety recall can destroy a small drinks brand overnight. Years of trust can disappear in a weekend. Hawkstone had only just started proving itself against the big brewers, and suddenly the government was warning people not to drink its product. This is the moment the whole story could have ended, not with a slow fade, but a sudden, very public collapse. It didn't end there. And the reason why is worth sitting with, because it's the part almost nobody outside the industry ever talks about. British pubs are dominated by something called the tied house system, where large brewing companies effectively control which beers get poured on which taps across the country. It's a closed shop, and it's been that way for generations. Most challengers try to fight that system head-on and lose slowly. Hawkstone skipped it entirely, went straight to independent pubs instead. Better terms, better margins, direct supply, none of the corporate red tape the big brewers wrap around their contracts. That single decision is how a brewery that used to serve around 50 pubs is now pouring pints in more than 4,000 of them. Clarkson didn't stop at brewing the stuff either. He bought his own pub outright, the Farmer's Dog, for a cool £1 million of his own money. And by every account, it's working. Every single weekend the car park is jammed full, people queuing up like it's a pilgrimage site just to get a 6.75 pint and a sausage roll. So where does all of that actually land when you put every piece of it together? Sales climbed from £7.8 million to £21.3 million, then to £44.9 million in just 3 years. That's triple-digit annual growth, the kind that gets competitors paying very close attention. Hawkstone was also named one of the Sunday Times' fastest-growing companies, 3 years running. Then, in February 2026, after passing £2.5 million in online sales alone, the brand expanded into 9 European countries. Today the business is valued at around £75 million, all built from a crop the big brewers once rejected outright. Here's the actual point though. This was never really about the beer. It's what happens when somebody gets told no by an industry that spent 100 years assuming it controls the whole game, and instead of quietly accepting that and walking away, decides to build a version of that game he actually owns himself. The failed taste test didn't stop it. The banned adverts didn't stop it. Even a national health recall didn't stop it. Whatever was underneath this thing was never as fragile as any single one of those disasters made it look at the time. So here's the honest question, and I want a real answer, not the easy one. Does Hawkstone genuinely deserve all this? Built on real growth, real numbers that stand up on their own? Or is this just Clarkson's name doing the heavy lifting, with the beer simply along for the ride? Pick a side. Drop your answer in the comments below and subscribe to Soil Vanta. Let's see which one wins.